Yo, welcome to Peanut Butter and Triggered. I'm Scott, joined by my boy
Jay Eastwood.
And we're here today to talk about PC gaming versus console gaming, differences in hardware, software, and just other things in general that I feel like a lot of people don't know. Most people, I think it's 90% is the number, are console gamers, and a lot of people don't even really understand or are intimidated by PC gaming.
Scott, are you trying to take me out of my comfort zone?
I'm trying to take you out of your comfort zone and try to take the listeners on a ride out of their comfort zone. So prepare yourself.
Well, you know what? I think that even if you're trying to take me out of my comfort zone, guess what? I'm adaptable. I think I'm going to fit right in.
Well,
so let's hear it.
All right. Well, first off, we're talking hardware. We're talking what are the differences between PC and console. I think a lot of people understand console. A lot of people understand what goes into consoles and all that other stuff. So I think it would be more on PC, the differences, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've only dabbled a little bit in PC, but like from what I hear and what I understand about PC gaming is that it's not necessarily something that's like so much different from consoles that like it creates an outsider sort of status or anything like that. But the other thing that's really neat about it is it's super sort of I would say modular.
Oh, well, yeah, that's what you really get out of it.
Yeah.
The positives about having a console excuse me, the positives about having a console are you always know you're getting like your game's going to run. When you buy Tomb Raider 3 years after your PS4 came out for for PS4, it's going to run just fine. You're not going to have a problem generally. On PC, it's a little different. After 3 years, like your PC starts slogging. Games get way better, but the nice thing is there's like graphical settings and all that kind of stuff. But yes, it's modular in that you can replace the graphics card, you can add RAM, all that kind of stuff.
Now, would one tinker with that as the games get newer or as like updates come out?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that a lot of the time, like I'll have 8 gigs of RAM, and I'll be like, you know what, I need to get 16, and you just spend however much it is, 50, 60, 70 bucks, buy more RAM, drop it in, and you're playing. And so then all of a sudden your computer or your game's running smoother and your computer's running smoother and faster. Hard drives, it's really easy to add another hard drive if you want more space, or it's easy to add a solid state if you want a faster hard drive. So it's pretty cool.
Okay. I'm into that. See, here's the thing about it though. You get those guys of the PC master race, and we know who they are, right? Yeah. You get the guys that talk about their gaming rig.
Yeah.
And it alienates the gamers that are on console versus the gamers that are on PC. So with that being said, like, what specifically, me being a console gamer myself, what would be like a starter kit? What would be what you would recommend?
So, like, no joke, 2 summers ago, I'd never built a computer, and I decided, excuse me again, I was going to build my own computer. And so I started looking for resources on how to do that. I had never done it. I had no idea exactly what you needed. A lot of people will be like, well, I have a better CPU, better GPU, better graphics card, and that stuff can be really confusing to everybody. A lot of people who aren't into it. I highly recommend just Googling or going to YouTube and looking up Newegg's computer beginner's guide walkthrough. And they walk you through step by step exactly not what you need to buy, but kind of like what you need to buy, like a graphics card, a RAM, and then it shows you how to install it and put it all together step by step. I'd say it's like a 30 or 40 minutes worth of video, but if you're really into it and you want to do it, it'll show you exactly what you need to do and how you need to place your memory sticks, how you need to put your CPU onto your motherboard. It's easy to do, but you should watch it and then it'll show you how to do it.
Okay, so what about a guy like me that's used to a console game setup? What if I want to use a controller?
No problem. That's easy.
Oh.
Just plug it in. Usually, if you have an Xbox One controller, you just plug it into Windows and it'll work. And the game will register it too. For example, PUBG. If I'm playing PUBG and I plug in a controller, automatically all the on-screen prompts change into X, Y, A, B.
And can you remap those buttons?
It depends on the game.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and if you really want to remap them, then you can get a program to remap them, which, you could have the right trigger do the up arrow if you want. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
So, and then if you want a PlayStation controller, there's a program you download and you're using your PlayStation controller. The only negative sometimes with the PlayStation controller is it might pop up like a right trigger when it should be R2.
Okay.
But it's the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with that being said, like, why would somebody stick with a mouse and keyboard?
Mouse and keyboard's definitely more accurate. Later in the show, we'll talk a little bit about realism games. A keyboard just has more buttons.
Huh.
Like, if you look at your keyboard, there not only the 26 letters, but there's 1 through 5. And then on your mouse, it's more accurate than the little joystick. So that's really good. A lot of times, like my mouse, for example, has a button on it. It's a back button. And I'll hit that as my selector. So it'll go like semi-auto to full auto in a first-person game. So there's just a lot more keys. It's a lot more accurate. And for a lot of games, for complicated games, you need them. Like in realistic shooters, you need all those ones.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like it gets pretty complicated, but like there are resources out there that make it less complicated. So for a guy like me,
yeah, I think anybody could do it as long as you put your mind to it. The positives are generally, like, you can get really pimped out rigs. Like, you can have a rig that is way more powerful than anything PlayStation or Xbox can put out. Like, if you're running, like, 2 1080 Ti's, which are really high-end graphics cards, on 4K monitors, you could be running 2 4K monitors, running The Witcher 3 in all 4K. It just... you can really blow it out of the water. But that being said, those rigs are like $2,000-$3,000, so they're really expensive.
Yikes.
That's the negative here with PC is cheap. Like, cheapest you can get in at is probably $500 or $600. And even then, your rig's not as powerful as a PlayStation 4, and it's going to be out of date pretty quick. So there definitely are negatives to PCs. They're more expensive. But once you get into it, it's cool to be able just to easily upgrade from, new graphics card or whatever.
Well, I think I might be sticking to console.
Most people do. I mean, 90%. And,
but that gap's closing.
Yeah, 100%. And it is definitely nerdy. Don't get me wrong. It's 100% nerdy, and you can really get into some nerdy things. Like I said, Grand Theft Auto Online. You can't do that on console that I was telling you about that the other day. You can't do that. You can't do all that modded stuff.
Yeah, so that brings us in maybe software sort of stuff. So, like, talk to me a little bit more about software capabilities as far as, like, PC versus console.
I think this is actually where your bread and butter is to go, to play PC as opposed to console. Consoles are cool in that it's really easy just to go on, download a game, for example, like we talked about the other day. Me and my wife were wanting to play a game, and I was like, we should just download Lego Harry Potter. She's really into Lego Harry Potter, or into Harry Potter, and I thought it would be a good game to play together. Easy. We click it, we download it, it works, runs, perfect, don't have to do anything else. Whereas on PC, it might be a little more complicated. Now, where the big bonus for PC is they have Steam, which is their Steam sales all the time. And I mean, for example, Humble Bundle, which I've shouted out, I think, a couple times on our Facebook. I mean, you can get Destiny 2 right now for $12, and it comes with like 6 other random games. That's pretty awesome. I mean, you can get tons of games for really cheap. That's where you make your money. All the games are super cheap.
Whereas, like, the cheapest you're going to get on PlayStation, let's just say PlayStation or Xbox, you're going to have to rely on your Xbox Live or your PlayStation Plus membership to give you those deals. And then even then, you're spending like, what, $50, $60?
Well, I mean, an example is, say you want to get into Valve games or Steam games. There's a backlog of maybe, I don't know, 15 games, 20 games, Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2, Episode 1, 2, 3, Team Fortress, Counter-Strike Go, Counter-Strike 1.6. You can get that bundle for $10 on sale, and it comes with all the games. Portal 1, Portal 2, pretty much every game they've ever made, which to get something like that on Xbox or PS4, it's not even close.
I'm getting ripped off.
Yeah. You
what the
are.
frickin' heck?
Yeah, for real. Gabe Newell, who's the CEO of Steam, will reach into your pocket and steal all your money, $2.50 at a time.
See, I'm okay with that. I spend more than that on a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I drinks me a lot of coffee.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, like, if you're playing PUBG and you get one of those stupid freaking sweatshirts or whatever, the hoodies, the in-game hoodies, you can sell them on Steam for real money.
I'm giving Scott this look of bewilderment because I've never even heard of this. Please enlighten me on this.
So there's a Steam marketplace, right? And Steam, there's Steam cards you get automatically. They're similar to, like, I don't know how to describe them. Basically, as you play, you can get up to 5 cards. These cards can then be turned around to be traded in for a badge, which a badge would be like a level up on your profile to make you look cooler. But what most people do is they just sell them for 1 cent, 2 cents, 3 cents, or if they're holographic ones, you can sell them for $1.50. I don't really understand it because I'm not one of the guys who collects them for my Steam profile. But yeah, you sell them for $1.50. And then the same way with Players Unknown. Ever since Players Unknown came out, you can you get a certain amount of experience, or BP, I think it's called, whatever it is. You then turn around, buy a loot crate, basically. You get from the loot crate, there's different drop rates for each thing. If you get like the 1 in 100,000 drop rate of Player Unknown's leather coat, now you're $1,000 richer. 1,000 Steam dollars richer. Or if you get the stupid yellow banana pants, all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what the price is of that, $80 more. Or maybe you'll just get a turtleneck. It's worth $4 or $5.
And this is literally just to customize your avatar.
Yeah. I mean, I can pull it out and look and see what's worth the most right now. There's some.
Pull it out.
Let's pull it out. Let me pull it out here. Let me look around there.
Well, okay. Here's the other thing too. These in-game outfits or these in-game like pieces of clothing, they offer no statistic boost,
no,
do they?
Absolutely not. Literally no statistic boost. In fact, I mean, there's camouflage ones, but they don't help that much. If anything, they're negative. A lot of people will be wearing all yellow, or Banana Man, we call them, and you can just see them easier. So if I look in here, so I'm going to go to the Steam right now, and I'm going to go Show Advanced Options, and I'm going to sort by Player Unknown. There's a whole bunch of games. There's a lot of Counter-Strike skins that are worth like thousands of dollars, like for your gun. Again, no bonus whatsoever. But
there was controversy about that, though, wasn't there?
Gambling controversy.
Yeah. And it was done by the co-owners of the gambling site.
Yep.
That's terrible.
So
like these little kids were like spending, dollars of their mom's hard-earned money on these dumb skins that offer no strategic or experience boost.
And you're not even buying a skin. You're buying a box that you might get a skin in. So you could get the skin that's like the black skin, and it's worth like 1 cent. But here's a few examples. The number one highest selling thing right now is the military uniform set, female. For some reason, females are always worth more. This is on PUBG. It's selling for $1,159. Now, the first item that I see that's actually an item is Player Unknown's bandana, and this always shifts as to what it's worth. If you manage to get Players Unknown bandana from one of these boxes, it's worth $250.
My mind's freaked.
And it's literally, like, no joke, if you go Google Player Unknown's bandana, it's a red bandana that you put on your guy. And so, well, what I do is I win these. I get these every once in a while. They'll be worth like $1 or $2.50, and I'll just sell them for that, and then I'll use it to finance my new game. I've gotten maybe $50 or $60 from PUBG, so it's paid for itself, plus paid for a couple other games. It's not bad.
That brings me back to software versus console, because I'm a console dude.
Yeah.
And I have never heard of anything even similar to that on a console. I can't earn console dollars to be able to go and use towards any purchases, towards any games or add-ons or like any DLC or anything like that. So that's again where PC versus console differs.
Yeah. Software-wise, it's just huge. Also, I mean, let's see what I put down here in my notes. I mean, Xbox and PS4 make it easy, right? But PC, Steam specifically, like, I have a huge backlog because of all the cheap games I purchased. They're constantly giving you free games. Like, I think I got Half-Life for free, but I guess that's cool because Xbox and PS4 give you free games every month. But you pay $60 a month for that too.
So Scott, what it sounds like to me is if you're willing to put in the work on your rig, whether it's a starter rig or if it's something that you eventually add some sort of mods to, it's going to pay for itself in the form of software. Yeah,
no, for sure. I mean, so my rig probably is worth $600. It's not that much. I've just built it over time. But to give you an idea, let's see here. My library of games.
Well, and then the other thing too that I think that is even more of an important piece to kind of go over is like consoles. They're not doing backwards compatibility. So, as far as your gaming rig is concerned,
Everything's always backwards compatible.
For the love of God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, so basically all the way to the beginning of time, you can get DOS games on your computer if you really want them. You just run this emulator called DOSBox. And then every game that I bought since the beginning of Steam, I've been on Steam for over 10 years, I can still play today. So that's cool. Like, sometimes I'm like, I kind of really want to play, I don't know, a good example would be, I don't know, Alan Wake. I don't know if you ever played Alan Wake if I want to play Alan Wake, I just turn on my PC and play Alan Wake. And I always have that game with me. It's just on my Steam account. I can download it if I want to.
That's outrageous, because I know that there are still, like, PlayStation 2 games that I remember fondly that I'm never going to be able to run on a PlayStation 4 unless it, like, for some reason comes out as, like, some weird, like, anniversary edition that I can download. Exactly. That kind of makes me angry. Dope. Yeah, I don't know if you probably can't even see it or hear it over the podcast, but I'm furious right now.
He's super furious.
Like, there's literally steam coming from my ears.
Which reminds me, we totally spaced Britney Watch. There was a Britney Watch update that I sent you.
Yeah, and this isn't something that's necessarily time sensitive, so by the time you hear this will already be out in the news anyways. Yeah. But for all of you that even care about Britney, she might be still feeling her psychological effects of her being absolutely insane. She has a sick, disgusting obsession, and when I say disgusting and sick, I freaking mean it. It's with miniature furniture.
I don't even understand where you start with this. Like, at what point?
I'll tell you where it started.
Okay.
So maybe. And this is pure speculation. I don't want to slander Britney Spears' name for the sake of like Joe Crocker coming after me.
Who's that?
Well, it's the guy that said leave Britney alone.
Oh yeah,
it's the hair flip dude.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. No, he's good. He's doing well. We keep in touch. But yeah, like it has to have started with her as a kid, but then it kind of like must have gradually been integrated into her life.
Yeah, you'd think we'd have heard of it before this, though.
And I'm talking about the weirdest stuff too, like baby-sized sofas, baby-sized beds, not cribs, but beds,
like little tiny, and they're not like doll size. They're like 1/8 scale. Yeah,
so like weird, like I'm gonna have a tea party table sets, like full kitchen tables, dinette sets.
And when she posts them, she's not posting them. She's like posting her working out, and they're just kind of in the background.
They're in the background. Yeah, very inconspicuously in the background. So it's like a little real life version of Where's Waldo?
Yeah,
but with baby furniture.
Odd.
Yeah. Well, Brittany, I sincerely hope that you're getting the help that you probably at this point really need, because you need to kick this disgusting habit of the obsession with baby-sized furniture.
Yeah, it's weird. But sorry to derail us from where we were, but I felt like we had a moral obligation to our fans to catch them up.
Yeah. There was definitely a moment in time where I was like, you know what, she's completely normal now.
Yeah.
But now I'm
crazy.
I'm very concerned for her safety.
It's impossible to not be crazy with that much money and that much time. And
I'm gonna be real. If I had any, like, a fraction of that money, I would be doing the most outrageous stuff. I guarantee it. I would be crazier than everybody that's famous right now.
Not me, probably. I don't think I'd be crazy, but I'd be buying shit I didn't need, but it wouldn't be mini furnitures.
Oh, mine would be several times worse.
Well, sorry about that derailment, but we're going to make sure we keep you guys up to date with Britney Watch.
I think there's some news bubbling about the Backstreet Boys, and I'll make sure that I have all of my facts. I want to keep my journalistic integrity secure by only reporting the facts. So just stay tuned for that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we have pretty much a decent handle on like the software of PC versus console, but like as far as console is concerned, I think it's pretty straightforward, right? You buy your console, you download the games, or you install the games if you have a physical copy, and then they're archived in a library that's on a cloud.
That's pretty much. This is where it's awesome for consoles, though, and you can go back and sell your games. On PC, you can't do that. The only nice thing with Steam is you can return the games. If you have less than 2 hours of playtime, and it's been within 48 hours of purchasing the game, say you're an hour deep into the game and it A, doesn't run well, or B, you're like, this is not what I want, you can return it.
Now, for console, you can only return it if you have the physical copy, though.
You can return it as long as it's not opened. If the game is opened, then you only can exchange it for the same game.
Or trade it in for credit towards another game.
But usually, that's $40 less than what you paid for it.
But for digital copies, you buy them, you're stuck with them, unless you fall within their buyer's remorse.
If you bought that horrible game I Am Alive on PS3 that everyone was excited about, but no one actually enjoyed, you're stuck with that sucker. You're stuck with it. Or if you were one of the unfortunate who decided to digitally pre-order No Man's Sky.
God. I'll never live this down.
Yeah. Then you're stuck with it forever. Unlike on PC, where if you pre-ordered it, you'd be just fine. He just ran over and grabbed his copy of No Man's Sky.
So, I'm definitely going to be posting this on our Instagram. I'm so ashamed of it, but I'm going to own it. I actually physically own the copy. I bought on launch day, and I hate myself for it. So
he's one of 18 people who owns the game.
Yeah.
Physically still. That and the 450,000 copies that GameStop owns.
There have been several minutes of this game played.
Go ahead and hold it up for the people at home.
Yeah, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be like...
Oh, No Man's Sky, disappointment.
Yeah. That's terrible. I feel terrible for myself.
So, that's one positive about Steam. It's pretty cool. You can get your money back within the first hour. It's not long. It's 2 hours.
Can I get my life back?
No, you can't get your life back.
God damn it.
Nope, unfortunately. So that's really cool. But that kind of brings us to the next step. So console's cooler for that, being able to sell your games, even though you don't get a whole lot for it. But the next step is, I feel like, content updates, right? Content updates for console games are DLC.
Right.
I mean, sometimes they'll release a little bit.
And yeah, sometimes it's like really silly DLC or
Horse
software
armor.
Patches, like just updates to fix bugs or something like that.
which is normal. So
I wouldn't even consider content updates.
No, for sure. It's just an update. It's a bug fix.
Right.
And I think from what I understand, the biggest reason is it costs a lot of money to publish on a PS4 or an Xbox. It's a lot of money. Now on PC, it doesn't cost anything at all. You can publish straight to Steam and it doesn't cost you any money. They just take a little off your profit, whatever you sell, through their digital platform. So 10%, or I don't know what that number is, but there's a percentage that they get from each sale. Unlike on console where you have to pay PlayStation to actually to publish the game.
Okay, so at the risk of sounding even more biased towards PC, it sounds like PC kind of has it made as far as content updates too.
100%.
Sounds pretty freaking easy.
Example. So Call of Duty is mostly a console game. It's more popular on console than it is on PC. It's still popular on PC, but definitely a console game at heart. Now, they just released the Resistance, I don't know if they just released it, but they released a Resistance DLC. That DLC came with, I think, 2 guns, and then came with 4 maps. 4, little Call of Duty maps. I believe that was $15, or I think it's $50 for the Season Pass, which come with 4 of them. 4 of these DLCs. Now, let's go to the other side, which is my grind on PC. We have a game called Squad. I love this game. It's a super realistic first-person shooter. Squad, without telling anybody and without advertising, today randomly released a free DLC. That free DLC includes the whole British Army, before the British Army wasn't in the game at all. So that's vehicles, maps, as well as a whole bunch of guns specifically for the British Army, all for free. So you get more. And it happens, Jay's making some weird faces, and it happens with a lot of games. I mean, for example, this game Tarkov, it's releasing new game content all the time. There's always a lot.
Okay, well, I'm a little frustrated with the lack of content, and especially free content updates in the console realm. But with that being said, I do appreciate the ease of use. It's simple. The simplicity of a console makes it for me, because at this point, I feel like I've played a few PC games in my life, but at the same time, it's never been enough to sway me towards any sort of PC life.
Yeah.
I'm on console life until I die.
And I'm the same way. Ease of use is number one thing. Like I've said before, I just had a kid. I haven't even touched my computer since, well, I mean, a little bit since I had the kid, but if I want to play my computer, I have to tell my wife, like, hey, I'm going to play with the guys tonight. And then, like, she has to watch the kid. It's hard to do that. Whereas, for example, last night, my son, I was watching him, and my wife managed to do, doing work, working from home, and I could actually play God of War while my son was on, like, just hanging out on me and sleeping. That's pretty cool. I can't do that with PC. Like, I have to set him aside, I have to turn it on, I have to have my arms up on the keyboard. That I just can't do that like I can with PC, or like I can with console.
Not unless you grow a new pair of arms.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
I could try. Bazinga.
Well, I can see Scott really straining himself right now. He's trying to sprout new arms, and man, that is the look of strain I hope to never ever see again.
It's the same look of strain when you have to take a shit.
Oh, I don't strain. I don't even poop.
Kim Jong-il over here.
Yeah. Is that the ill or the un?
The ill is the one who didn't poop.
The illness?
Kim Jong-il's only regret is he wasn't Kim Jong-healthy.
Ooh, burn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, he actually is burned. He's cremated.
He's cremated and dead.
No, I wasn't. There was no sort of Bazinga there.
I know he's not. I know. But we can laugh about it.
Can we retire Bazinga from the lexicon of American
Let me be the first
culture?
to tell you that the absolute worst show on TV is Big Bang Theory. I'm just going out there and saying that.
God, I hate Big Bang Theory. I think the biggest thing about Big Bang Theory that's dislikable for me is every single person on that show. Yeah. Not even the writing, just the characters themselves.
If you're watching a TV show and it has a laugh track, that show is horrible.
I'm going to insert a laugh track right here.
Perfect.
Great. And then let's move on from stupid Big Bang Theory, but like when it comes to PC versus console games, and we're still talking about like content updates, I think the one thing that really kills it for me on console games would be that, again, the content updates are very small, very like, I would say forgettable for the most part.
Well, case study, PUBG, okay?
Yeah.
PUBG's on PC and PUBG's on console, okay?
Right.
When they released the 1.0 patch, okay, so far, right now, as it is, PUBG on console still has one map and all the same guns that it had on release. Now, if we go over to PC side, I want to say there's like 3 or 4 more guns. There's 2 new maps. And on PC, they just released a new gun. They just released a new car. And, I mean, I think they released one other thing. I can't remember. Oh, yeah, a whole bunch of new grips and stuff. So, like, side by side, you can see, I think it's just more expensive to push console updates than maybe even more time consuming, I don't know, than it is on PC. Also, PC has a test server, so if you actually want to play all the stuff before it hits the general public, you can. It's just, the caveat that it might not work, it might be broken, it might crash your game, but
like if you want to beta test it?
Yeah, you just download the test server and they'll say, hey, pushing new gun to test server, go ahead and play it if you want, might be buggy. Okay, cool, I'll play the new, why not? It might be buggy, I understand it might be buggy, but...
Well, that's the risk that you take, and they take that data, and then they implement it.
Correct.
Okay.
So they have like a test server forum, and you go in and you put your complaints in there if you really want to help. Or you can just play it for fun.
Wow.
They did that with the new map. Like, when the new map came out, they're like, come play it, it's glitchy as hell, you might fall through the map, but... Cool, I want a new map. I'll play it. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go for it.
Which brings me to also content updates. This one thing that the console basically doesn't have at all that's huge on PC, and that's mods.
Oh.
Mods are massive on console. You want to play Skyrim with...
I like me some Skyrim.
Skyrim with Thomas the Tank Engine as all the dragons.
Oh, see, I don't like that.
Well, I'm just saying, there's tons of mods. There's a mod that adds the Resident Evil house to Skyrim with Draugr or whatever as all the zombies, and it's an exact 1-for-1 replica of Resident Evil 1 with all the traps, all the puzzles, everything, but it's in Skyrim.
Scott, ask me if I'm into that.
Are you into that?
Oh, I'm so into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you mentioned that because...
Or go ahead.
I'm just glad that you mentioned that because now I might be a console gamer no more. I'm going to be a PC gamer for life.
And guess what? It's all free. You don't have to pay for any of it. And so say I want to play...
Scott, will you please shut that front door?
Say you want to add all the Lord of the Rings weapons to Skyrim. They're there already. And they're naturally in the world. And if you go into the right dungeon, Sauron's there waiting for you. That's right. Yep.
So, what other sort of mods are worth speaking about? I know that like GTA is always in the Reddit sphere with mods.
GTA mods, of course. There's whole games that were mods. I mean, an example is there's a game called Red Orchestra that was like a shooter game that was Russians versus Germans, and a little studio decided they were going to mod it and put it in the Pacific Theater, which is Americans versus Japanese. And the studio liked it so much, they actually decided to fund it, and now it's a whole standalone mod you can get.
That's dope.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of mods, and there's whole games that are mods.
Like when you were Grand Theft Auto roleplay?
Yeah.
That's an entire game that's a mod?
Kinda. This would be like they take the assets from one game and create a new game. Example being like Half-Life. They remade Half-Life 2 in the Half-Life engine, the source engine. Or they remade Half-Life 1, in the Half-Life 2 engine. Sorry, that was confusing. But
No, you've clarified it just enough for me to understand that. Wow, that's really cool. I mean, I think the biggest sort of appeal for me it would be like the Grand Theft Auto mods, because from what it looks like, the possibilities are endless in there.
So I'm probably the wrong... Well, I mean, maybe I'm the right person to talk about this. Offline mods, there's tons of them, and I couldn't figure it out. They're really confusing. Like, even as a nerd, it took me a lot, and I screwed up my game royally, and I couldn't even start it. But, I mean, you can add guns, you can change guns. In the space I was really, truly modded in was a modded server. So you join the server and automatically modded your game. And so we had modded police chargers. We had modded police bikes. We had all the cars were real cars. So there's a Dodge Viper and Escalade, and they actually had Escalade logos on them and stuff.
What's the dumbest car you've seen in a mod? Like the most embarrassing car you've seen?
I don't know. Most of the mods are really cool cars.
So we're not going to see a Dodge Shadow?
No.
Or like somebody shitty, like Toyota Tercel?
No, I wish you did, but unfortunately, the people who spend time on it want a cool car. Like, they're not going to spend a bunch of time on... Because it's free. You're not getting paid for your mod.
But I want to drive a Geo Metro.
That would be really cool, though. A shitty car mod. There's tons of high-definition, badass cars and mods.
Shout out to the subreddit, Shitty Car Mods. But no, I would love to drive some shitty cars, mod them up, make them crazy sleepers, and then go race them.
There's some cool shitty RVs that we used for meth cooking. Like, the people who cooked meth would drive around these shitty RVs, but I don't remember any not cool car mods. Because, like I said, if people are going to spend the time on them, they're going to be a cool car generally. But I'm with you.
Yeah. No, it sounds good. So I'm a little triggered right now because just glancing at the stupid cover of No Man's Sky. No
free content updates with that.
No, definitely not. That's also another point of contention with this game. But the other thing, on the cover, they make this game look amazing.
Yeah, just have good cover art, but it's a horrible game.
You got the two moons, you got somebody battling in the sky with another spacecraft.
Can you actually do that even?
Yeah, you can. I've done it. I've killed several things.
Okay, they just fly around and you shoot them down?
Yeah, or somebody like comes after you. And then these weird, really intriguing looking animals and all the flora and fauna you can imagine. But when you play the game, it's nothing like that. It makes me sick.
Are there even any actual screenshots on that?
On the back, yeah. They make it look so much cooler than it really is, though. And these are actually not screenshots, actually. They are...
Artist representations.
See,
that's embarrassing when you can't even put a screenshot on your game there.
That's so disgusting.
We need to figure out what the name of the director of that game is and be real triggered at him.
Hello Games.
Well, there's a main guy who got in trouble, or not got in trouble, but was spearheading this, like, went, I believe on, I want to say the Xbox press conference of E3, and was like, this is going to be the biggest game ever. Like, it's going to be so big, you're not even going to see other people. And everyone's like, well, it's a large game, but it's extremely boring.
The word for word, verbatim message on the back of this game is, your universe awaits. Embark on an epic voyage at the center of a boundless universe and be the first to discover entire galaxies teeming with life. Survive hazardous environments where alien civilizations seek their fortune and outlaws take it by force. I'm disgusted.
Triggered. God. And they claim that was a massive multiplayer MMO. Massively multiplayer online game, which it's not. It's a one-player game. So, Oh, I guess I should turn to the right side. So yeah. Now, the other place where truly PC gaming steals my heart, and part of the reason all my friends are really into this, so part of the reason I am a bigger PC game, is I call them ultra-core games or super hardcore games. And a lot of people probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but
I don't.
An example, so the most realistic game you get on PC in terms of a shooter game would be like Battlefield 1 maybe, it's kind of realistic. It's got realistic ammo and the shots drop, right? But games I play would be like Squad, where it's like a 100-man server, so it's like 50 on 50, so it's pretty big. Massive maps, so you gotta trek like miles and miles. You have to really get a vehicle to go anywhere, or you're walking a long way. And then you would have proximity chat, so anyone around you can hear you talk. And then you have a squad chat, where you can use your radio to talk to your squad. And then your squad leaders use a platoon chat to talk to the other platoon leaders. And then you actually move and attack on the whole map using squad. So Squad 1 attacks this place, Squad 2 attacks this. And then, that being said, lastly, everything's super realistic. You get hit, you just die. It's not like Call of Duty. Super realistic. The guns are realistic. Everything's super realistic. In my favorite game, Escape from Tarkov, you actually load the ammo individually into the magazines.
Yeah.
Yeah. You carry 2 magazines, and when you're out of ammo in those 2 magazines, you actually have to open the menu and then load each round individually. So it's just super realistic. Those are impossible to do on console because they need so many buttons. Example being, if I want to check how much ammo I have in Escape from Tarkov, I have to hold Control-Shift-T. He will then pull the magazine out of the gun, look at it, and put it in. It will say about half full. You don't know how much ammo is in it. It's just,
you have to eyeball it?
Yeah, it's about half full. I got 16 rounds in there maybe. So maybe I should reload. And if I take that 16-round magazine out of the gun and I put it in my vest, which you actually have to put the magazines in your vest, that 16-round magazine's in my vest, and if I run out of ammo in my other magazines, I have to go back to that 16. It's not just a pile of ammo like in Call of Duty where you have like 100 rounds and it's just like you reload after one shot.
What if I want to switch between magazines really quickly? And is there a way to do that without being so time-consuming?
You can tap R and he'll reload. He just reloads, so he reloads from left to right you have an inventory, and your inventory on your chest rig, depending on which chest rig you have, you'll have like 3 magazines. Now, say you want to reload really quick. You're in a firefight.
Right.
If you double tap R, he drops a magazine on the ground. You'll have to pick it up later if you want it again, and he pulls the next magazine. So you could actually run out of magazines. If you double tap R on the last magazine, he drops it on the ground, and you have 1 bullet in the chamber.
I'm into that amount of realism. It sounds kind of frustrating for some, but for me, I think that would actually be really fun.
I like it a lot. It's my favorite game.
It's challenging.
It's super challenging, and it makes you think. You can't just reload after 2 shots. You have to be like, okay. You have to kind of go into it. You're like, okay, I realize I was just in a firefight. I have 1 magazine that's full left. Do I just keep? I know I probably got 10 rounds. Do I just keep the 10 rounds in my gun, or do I reload?
Yeah, it makes you think,
Yeah. It's good though. I really enjoy those games, and I think that they can't be done on console at all. Examples: Red Orchestra, Rising Storm 2 Vietnam, Squad. Most of you people probably have never heard of these games. Escape from Tarkov. I highly recommend, if you're even halfway into it, go look at some Escape from Tarkov players. It's super hardcore. And for example, if you go into a raid, they call it, with all your gear, so you have really expensive helmet, you have in-game money, so really expensive armor, a really expensive gun, and you die, you just lose it all. It's gone. So,
well, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it on console, there's absolutely nothing even close to that.
No.
Even when it comes to inventory systems too, it's rare to come across an inventory system where you'll have to kind of play Tetris with whatever.
Yeah. And that's exactly. It's funny you say that, because the most closely comparable inventory system I would say is Resident Evil 4.
Right.
So you have a backpack, and then you have that Tetris system. Depending on which backpack you have is how much room you have.
And for those that have no idea what we're talking about when we say a Tetris system, imagine you have a backpack menu where certain items have different shapes or certain amounts of blocks that they take up in your inventory system, and you have to get creative with how you place those items into that inventory system.
Correct. And an example where this is a really cool game is, say you have an AK-74 U. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but it's the little short AK, right? It's got a folding stock. I throw that thing in my backpack unfolded, and it takes up maybe a 2x6 space, or 2x4. Now, if I fold it up, you can fold the stock. Now, all of a sudden, it takes up, instead of 2x6, you're taking up a 2x4 because you folded the stock. So you can inventory management like that. Or say I have an SKS, it's a full size, it's 2 blocks by 6 blocks. It's a big long rifle. If I take the magazine out, now it's 1 block by 6 blocks. Because I took the magazine out, it's a shorter gun, if that makes sense, and it's less space. So this is where the inventory management gets really interesting. Maybe you take the magazine out and you throw the magazine away because you don't need the magazine, but you want the rifle. And now you have a rifle that's 1 by 6, but you can fit more. There's a lot of inventory management like that. Or, for example, if you have pistol magazines, if you put your pistol magazines in your backpack, he won't reload them if you hit R because they're not on your rig.
And this is Tarkov?
Yeah.
Man, that game sounds like really realistic, but at the same time, it sounds like it's cerebral. You have to really think with your inventory system there.
Mm-hmm. You do. I mean, so say you have a chest rig with 3 magazine holders on the front of it. If you have filled all your magazine holders with pistol mags and you go to reload, when you reload, he won't have anywhere to put that magazine on his rig because it's full, and he'll just drop it on the ground and go to the next magazine. So you have to be really smart with how you kind of divvy up what you want to carry.
Or just go, balls out.
Yeah.
And fuck everything up and then die.
You also should carry water because your guy will get dehydrated.
No, stop it.
I kid you not.
Stop it.
So as you go through and, you start to get deep in, your guy's getting dehydrated, I recommend carrying like a bottle or 2 of water. Also, of course, meds. If you get shot and you're bleeding out, you need a bandage. You don't just have a med kit. You need a bandage. You bandage it, and then you use the med kit to heal it.
Can you just, tape something up, without, really caring for that, or, dressing that wound?
Yeah, so say...
If you're in a pinch?
Correct. Yeah, so say there's this thing that's just called it's a car med kit. Say you don't have a bandage and you just want to try to get out and you're bleeding to death. You're constantly using the med kit. You can just use the med kit over and over again. Every time you're using the med kit, though, I think it depletes your dehydration. So you're kind of like juggling. So now once you're using your med kit a lot, all of a sudden you're starting to get dehydrated. So you have to start taking water. Usually you don't carry a whole lot of water. So it's kind of like this. Sometimes you'll get in a firefight and everybody will die.
Do you have to sleep? If you have to sleep, I'm going to lose it. Okay, good.
No, because a raid usually because how it works is you have a Resident Evil 4 type storage outside of the map, and then you have also kind of a Resident Evil 4 storage on your guy, depending on what you bring in. If you bring in nothing, then you have 4 pockets and that's it. If you bring in a chest rig, a backpack, and then you have a lot more storage.
Yeah.
And then outside the game, you have, depending on which version you've pre-ordered, a bigger or smaller space.
Well, in deep contrast to console gaming, for those that like the simplicity, like myself,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about any of that. Let's say I'm playing Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
If I want to go get a gun, I have to select one gun from my 30 guns that I have in that inventory wheel, and then I'm carrying I don't know, maybe 10,000 rounds per gun.
Yeah.
It just makes it fun.
It's a different experience.
Yeah.
Yes, that's fun. And there definitely are console games or PC games like that. I mean, you can play Grand Theft Auto. There's a dime a dozen games like that you can play just like that. Now, what PC has that console doesn't is that style of game. You have the option to play them if you want to. It's different.
Well, games at times get to be similar, or at least a little, have a piece of that ultra, what's it, ultra core?
I call it ultra core. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, because there's I think hardcore gamer is a gamer that plays a lot.
Okay,
I call this whatever the realism,
whatever the term is, the ultra realism aspect of the game. There are certain games that get into that on console, which happen to be ports of certain PC games, like Skyrim. Unless that was a launch
No, I think
I feel like
Skyrim
it
launched
started
all
on
three.
PC. It started on PC, but then was eventually launched on...
I don't think so. I was launched on all of them, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, forgive me for my
Yeah.
poor fact-checking.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Well, now I'm embarrassed. I wasn't embarrassed at first.
No,
but yeah.
there's definitely ports, and I think we talked about a few ports for sure. I think these ultra-core games just don't go over, but there's a bunch of port games that are good or bad. And, I mean,
the ports that I can think of that are good would be like Diablo 3, right? Diablo 3 was actually pretty good, but it lent itself to be really fun on a console because when you're dealing with a port, you got to deal with like the different input options, the different graphics, the different sort of like gameplay styles that they want to introduce, perhaps different spots where they load, perhaps different like characters that they'll even introduce.
Inventory
at some
management.
point. Yeah, right.
Inventory management on a console obviously is a lot different than inventory management can be on a PC. So I played Diablo 3 on PC, and it was an online-only game, so you had to be connected to the server, which is lame. And then, so, example, Diablo 3 was an online-only game on the PC, and some people would play on ultra-hardcore mode, where if you die, you die. Yeah. So they would be playing, and they'd get a lag spike right at the wrong time, 50 hours into the game, on ultra-hardcore, where if you die, you lose everything, and they would die and lose everything 50 hours into the game.
That sounds awful.
Super awful. Now, on console, they came over. You didn't have to be online all the time. They had improved. The inventory management was so much better because you weren't constantly clicking. You just hit square and you kind of pick things up really easily. Also, they added a roll, which was really fun. You can just use the right analog stick to roll. So that's an example where, in my opinion, the best example of where a PC game is better on console.
Well, what about PC games that sucked on console? Like, maybe The Sims.
Yeah, The Sims wasn't that good on console.
The big, giant, fat turd.
Yeah, I remember playing The Herbs. You ever play The Herbs?
No.
A PS2. It was a PS2 exclusive, I believe. It was part of that whole, like, they were porting, like, The Sims 2 over to PC, and it was called The Herbs, and it was just The Sims in the city, basically. Like,
herbs, short for urban?
Yeah. Instead of The Sims.
Clever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Clever girl.
Clever. And it was freaking horrible. I actually have some funny stories about The Sims if we want to talk about it too.
Share one of those stories.
So, this is me and my buddy. Shout outs to my buddy Mark. I used to go over to his house.
Hi, Mark.
I used to go over to his house, and what we would do is we would play The Sims, and we had this guy we made up named Terry. Now, Terry was a complete creep. We made him to be the worst kind of person that you could imagine. Terry would go swimming at the cemetery, so he was swimming at the cemetery. Terry would steal. He was constantly stealing cars. So he never had a job, but he would make all of his money by stealing cars. Also, he'd steal drum sets. He lived underground. We actually made it so he lived underground.
Yeah.
He ate people's food. So I always remember we would knock on these people's door, and they'd greet him as a friend, and he would go upstairs and sleep in their kid's bed. Like, he'd just be sleeping in their bed, and they'd get really mad. So Terry was really weird. Of course, some Sims actually were attracted to Terry. He was bald and fat. And this one lady got attracted to Terry no matter what. We'd be super mean to her, but she still would like him. Like, we'd be like, insult, 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 insult. And she got into him. And of course, what do? I don't know if you're familiar with The Sims. You try for a baby. What else would Terry do?
I mean, I would hope that he at least was protected.
No, we tried for a baby. That means you're not protected.
Well, you protect yourself first. You don't know what this crazy woman's all about.
This is Terry.
Oh,
Terry just goes straight in. So as soon as they tried for a baby, and then she became pregnant. And of course, what's Terry do? Terry does what Terry does. He left her.
He said he did the old trick. I'm going to go out for a pack of smoke.
Yeah. He pulled the old switcheroo.
Yeah, that's what my dad did. No, I'm being serious.
Yeah, I know.
He's still out for a pack of smokes now. Anyways, so shout out Dad. So we've already talked about games that were ports from PC, but what about games that were ports from console that ended up working? Games that ended up sucking.
Mm-hmm. I don't know of a lot that went from console, like, off the top of my head. Rise, Son of Rome.
Ugh.
That
game sucked on console.
Yeah, that game was not a good port. You really had to use a controller.
Yeah.
I mean, you had to plug in a controller, otherwise it was awful.
Well, what about Grand Theft Auto?
Grand Theft Auto is another good example of a port. At the start, though, it was horrible.
But now
it's good.
Now it's great.
Mm-hmm. Now it's great. There's tons of mods out there, like we already talked about.
I mean, dare I say, it might be even better on PC than it was on console.
I mean, you've heard my stories.
Oh, I love the stories.
I mean, I had a lot of great experiences on Grand Theft Auto Online that you would never be able to have outside of PC. I mean, come on. Another example of a good example is you could do whatever you wanted on Grand Theft Auto role-playing, and there's this kid named Taco, and Taco was like a 12-year-old kid who was hilarious. He didn't understand, like, we were all adults and role-playing, but Taco didn't know what he was talking about, and Taco started his own news agency called Taco News. And I kid you not, he would dress up as like a reporter, and he would go around interviewing these people, like Betsy Sue or whatever that girl was. So you could actually go on his YouTube channel, and it would be Taco News, and he would be talking to that hooker on the side of the road who was part of this role-playing service.
That deranged prostitute.
Yeah, we actually had a role-play where President Trump came in, and so as a police officer, of course, I was assigned detail to protect President Trump, and President Trump was assassinated. And this is all part of a game. This didn't actually happen. This is part of a game. And we had to then hunt down who did it. It was part of the roleplay. But we actually called like all the citizens of Los Santos, and we had the whole server down for President Trump's speech. It was pretty cool. It's just little things like that, you know? But, sorry to derail us, but ports, I don't know what else. I don't know if there's any other games.
Well, there were other ports that really sucked from console, like Halo. Halo was terrible.
Yeah, I thought that was terrible.
Like, Halo was a franchise, and it might even be dead now, right? But, like, port from console to PC just also did not work. Flat out did not work.
And there's some games that are like that. I think For Honor is one of them that's primarily a console port. I mean, that ported from PC to console that's horrible is PUBG. PUBG's horrible on Xbox, from what I understand. But
excellent on mobile. I'll give my stamp of approval on that.
Yeah. We could talk about that all day. Why is that game actually runs better on my phone than it runs on my PC?
Yeah, maybe they ought to take some notes from themselves and give those sorts of features to the console or the PC.
Like a ranking system? Mm-hmm.
Ranking system, the inventory pickup where it just automatically loads what works.
Although that could be a kind of a skill set, because on PC you actually have like the ability to quickly do things just because of input.
Yeah.
So if you're not good at that, then you just suck at the game.
Well, yeah, but then why not make the entire game like ultra real then? Like, why not add the same sort of idea that Tarkov has, where you actually have to keep an eye on each individual bullet, you know?
Maybe.
Yeah, inventory management and inventory conservation becomes a major key at that point then.
Yeah, for sure. I think that maybe people should just get good.
Like myself.
Yeah, like yourself. You should get good at...
Major shade has been thrown.
I just burped, I'm sorry. I apologize to everyone.
It probably didn't sound like, but he actually did turn his head away from the mic and still somehow managed to find its way to the microphone.
Sorry about that, folks.
All right, so I mean, I think what this whole conversation is boiled down to is that, yeah, console has its merits, PC has its merits, but like everything, if you're willing to put in the effort and if you're willing to shell out the money, it ends up paying for itself.
And I mean, let's just talk about this for just a half second.
Sure.
Is there any experience that you've had on console that could compare to my Grand Theft Auto experience?
I'm searching my memory banks now. No.
Yeah.
No, and the biggest reason is because, like I was saying before, content updates are a major key in this particular argument here, because like you're not getting the same content updates that you're going to get with PC. Even at that point, some of the mods that you're using on a PC are not going to compare to, or I should say, the components that you have on your console aren't going to compare to the mods that you have on your PC.
User content mods, like user content updates, whenever on console have you got a user content update?
Never. Absolutely never.
And pretty much every game on Steam, there's something called the Steam Workshop where it's content delivered by the Steam users. May it be high definition skins for your guns or extra levels for certain games. There's whole storylines in Skyrim. There's a Skyrim boxing.
You know what? I apologize. I did forget Forza Horizon and Forza have excellent user managed like content. Whether it's graphics, whether it's tuning on the particular car that you're using.
By graphics, you mean like a skin for your car, right?
Yeah. Sorry. Skins for cars or stickers or, just like all kinds of stuff like that. Sure. But like Forza did a really good job with that, and they continue to do a really good job with that because the biggest thing about that game is the personalization of those vehicles.
Sure. And an interesting call out, though, on that is yes, there's because I have Forza too. Forza as well, not Forza 2. But Forza has skins, but what mods are would be like whole new cars, whole new tracks created by users, whole new like systems. Like
okay, well then by that description, Grand Theft Auto has that on console because you actually get to create your own missions.
Which is awesome. Yeah, you're right on that. There's definitely user-created content 100% on Grand Theft Auto in terms of their content creator. And same with Far Cry 5. If you've played Far Cry 5, Far Cry 5 has a new, like a level editor or game editor or whatever you want to call it. And you can use assets, I think, from Far Cry 3, Far Cry 4, Far Cry 5, Far Cry Primal, Assassin's Creed, all those assets to create your own maps. That's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
So there are definitely
some
things for sure. Now that you say that,
maybe consoles closing that gap slowly but surely.
Trying to for
sure.
Hey,
they're definitely trying.
But it's just nowhere even close to the amount of content that you can get out of.
But then again, if I'm playing on console, I'm going to be able to slide that disc into that slot.
Yep. And just play the game and not have to screw with anything.
Slide that disc right into that slot and play.
No installation, no errors, no C++ errors.
There's still installation.
I know, but literally you slide it in it and it installs. Whereas on PC, it's like installing. You start it, there's an error. Okay, now to figure out what the hell's going on. Google the error. Okay, error with C++. Okay, well, it says that I have to delete the file in this location. You try to delete. So PC definitely has that negative. There's a lot of glitches sometimes.
I'm a man on the move. I don't have time for that.
Exactly. Driver updates.
Forget
all that kind of stuff. So that's where, console really, again, that's why the 90% is because they don't want to jump through the hoops. But my point is if you do jump through the hoops and you do get everything tuned in, there's some experiences that you can have on console or on PC that you truly can't have anywhere else. Playing squad and calling our platoon that has heavy weapons, firing mortars on a position while we yell out that we're moving up with an AT-4 and we're under heavy fire and we might die. That's like something that you can't get on on console. Console is like, okay, there's like some little kid yelling at me on Call of Duty or Battlefield.
Why are kids the most cruel on these online games?
Have
you noticed that?
Dude, it's horrible.
They have the worst egos of any person on any of these games.
It's basically...
I feel terrible about myself every time I'm online.
Where are we at for time on this bad boy?
58 minutes.
Wow. Good timing because we're just almost at the end of our list. Do you have anything you want to say about consoles to wrap it up?
No, I think that... consoles are always going to be consoles and PCs are going to be PCs. If you're in for simplicity and you just want it to work and you don't necessarily care about the amount of detail to a certain extent, because let's face it, consoles are getting more and more detailed,
for sure.
Then console's the place to be. If you're in it to win it and you want to go PC and you want to be able to put the time in, be ready to put the effort in, but there's definitely
rewards.
A reward for that sort of time that you put in, and that comes in form of content updates, that comes in form of the graphics, like the sheer quality of graphics. It comes in form of customization, mods, and that's something we've talked about with like a perfect console before. Like we want something that's going to be modular.
Yeah. And again, one thing that I'll bring up as the last kind of closing point that's really awesome about PC is Discord. I don't know if you're familiar at all with Discord, but Discord is awesome, man. So it's really cool. So there's content creators out there. Dr. Disrespect. I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Disrespect. He's a big Twitch user, or Shroud. Big Twitch users who play like PUBG and stuff. They have their own Discord, and what a Discord is basically imagine a party on steroids. So basically, you can join their party. There might be 3,000 people in there with a whole bunch of kind of chat rooms. And each kind of chat room, you can have text chat rooms in there where people are posting links. It's like a super interactive forum. But also, at the end of the day, it's a chat room. So me and my buddies have our own Discord, and we hop in there and play.
Is that kind of like what Drake did when he was on Fortnite?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's playing in Discord. Wouldn't surprise me.
Killer.
But you can see like the people who you watch in the Discord talking. I mean, you probably it's locked, so you can't jump in there with them. But at the end of the day, we have my buddies and me have a Discord, and like when we want to play, it'd be like hop on Discord, and we all hop into basically a chat room, and you're playing. So that's really cool communication. Sorry, derailed us here at the end, but that's something that's really cool.
That's killer. Well, I mean, that about wraps it up. Simplicity for consoles, and effort equals reward for PC.
Sure does.
Well, I'd like to take this moment to give a special shout out to my boy Radford. Radford has talked to us a little bit more regarding our sports podcast, our sports games podcast, I should say, because he is crazy on the sticks at Madden. And then
way better than me.
Well, you're going there?
No, he's 100% way better than me. And we can go into it, but Radford is he is good at Madden. I mean, he's an ex-collegiate football player.
Right.
But he also is super good at Madden, and he figures out, people call him a cheap player, but he figures out the way, because he figures out the play that will make 4 yards no matter which defense you play on it. And he'll just run it on you over and over again. So
this is Radford, our friend over at Triple Option Sports.
Yeah.
Well, with the conversation that we had about sports games and the current state that they're in now, he's even gotten us a little bit of inspiration to be able to maybe have a part 2 about that. And who knows, maybe we might have a special guest by the name of Radford. I don't know.
I think that'd be cool, and maybe even 1 or 2 of the guys we can have call in from Triple Option Sports if they're willing to kind of do a collab, if you will. Maybe we should talk to them.
Yeah, who knows? I would also like to give a major shout out to the Scum Gang again. They've been a really serious support system for Peanut Butter and Triggered, and they have officially inducted me into the Scum Gang.
Wow, I still don't know what the Scum Gang is. Really,
it's more of a way of life. You'll never understand.
That's what he always says. He says that it's a relaxed group that I'm not allowed to be in because it's too exclusive. But my what I said is that a relaxed gang shouldn't be overly exclusive, because then by definition it's not that relaxed.
It's open to interpretation, but if that's how you want to play it, that's fine. I'm really relaxed about it, so I'm not really concerned. But the other thing, I would also like to give a major shout out again. This man is no longer mad at me. I was on his bad side for a while. Apparently he was upset about some sort of crazy rumor. But AC from the 503 has officially purchased a gift for your boys. $50,000. Yeah, a gift for your boys over here at Peanut Butter and Triggered. He bought us some socks.
And we'll be posting them on both Instagram and Facebook.
He purchased, both Scott and myself, 1 pair of socks to share.
I call the peanut butter side.
Well, there's only jelly.
So you call the other sock.
I call the other sock.
A pair of peanut butter and jelly socks. Huge shout out to our boy AC503, who actually listened to the end of the podcast last week. And
that's more than I can say for some of you. I see the statistics.
Yeah, we see the statistics. 33 minutes.
No, but thank you seriously for your contributions.
Huge shout out to the people who've stuck with us all the way to the end of this hour. Like, huge shout out.
Yeah. Well, a huge shout out to a special somebody out there who takes care of our Facebook.
My wifey, who I love very much, who takes care of our Facebook. I don't think she's going to make it this far. She doesn't really care for video games, so. But huge shout out anyway. She takes care of our Facebook, and she boosts our posts, and she's super supportive.
You could really say anything you want.
I could. And I'll say, I love her, and I love my son, and they're both awesome, so.
Wise decision. All right. Well, I think that about wraps her up.
One other thing, we thought about doing a couple part 2s again to sports, and also a part 2 possibly to PUBG versus Fortnite. I think that might be in our future, especially with all the content going down. And again, if you are interested in any other stories. Shout out to my boy Patrick. He said that we should do movie games versus movie games or video game movies, vice versa. Blah,
right.
blah.
And then another little teaser that we're going to throw out there. Feel free to hit us up on our Facebook and our Instagram for any sort of like contributions to this particular subject that's coming up. But we're going to have a podcast that's centric around music in video games, whether it's original scores, soundtracks, best of, worst of. You get the idea. All right. For all of you that have stuck with us to the very end of this podcast, we would like to thank you, and we would like to wish you a pleasant tomorrow, and stay tuned for new episodes of Peanut Butter and Triggered. And again, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. Do your thing, you dirty beals.
Every Monday, a new episode drops. Bye.
See ya.